Welcome to another session of Organisms and Population. In the previous session, you had learned about abiotic factors and responses of living organisms to abiotic factors. You have learned that some organisms regulate, some conform, some migrate or suspend their activities. All these responses are due to adaptation. You had learned about adaptation in lower classes. Adaptation is any attribute of the organism that enables the organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. It can be morphological, that means structural changes. It can be physiological, which is functional changes, or it can be behavioral. Many adaptations have evolved over a long evolutionary time and are genetically fixed. Let's look into the example of kangaroo rat. It is found in North American desert where water is scarce. How does it survive in extreme water scarce condition? As you all know, water is essential for metabolic activities. It's an organism which do not drink water at all. Then how do they get water? They get water by oxidation of fats, which is called as metabolic water. Another adaptation is they excrete highly concentrated urine so that very less amount of water is lost from its body. Let's look into the example of plants that grow in desert. They are called as xerophytes. In case of plants, loss of water is maximum through transpiration and transpiration takes place through leaves. In some of the desert plants, leaves are small, so the number of stomata present is very less. In the case of opentia or cactus plant, the leaves are modified into spines. In that case, there are no stomata. If the leaves are modified into spines, there should be some structure to perform photosynthesis. In this case, stem gets modified into green structure which perform photosynthesis. For photosynthesis, carbon dioxide has to be taken in. For that, stomata are present on the stem and are present in deep pits. Xerophytes also have a special photosynthetic pathway called as crassulation acid metabolism that enables their stomata to remain closed during daytime. During night, carbon dioxide is absorbed through open stomata and is fixed into an alternative form. During the daytime, light reaction takes place. It's a special adaptation of xerophytes. Many desert plants have a thick cuticle on their leaf surfaces and have stomata arranged in deep pits to minimize water loss through transpiration. Let's see the adaptations of mammals that live in colder climates. Mammals from colder climates have shorter ears and limbs to minimize heat loss. This rule is called Allen's rule. In the polar seas, aquatic mammals like seals have a thick layer of fat or blubber below their skin that act as an insulator and reduces loss of body heat. Some organisms possess adaptations that are physiological, which allow them to respond quickly to a stressful situation. If you had ever been to a high altitude place, you must have experienced what is called altitude sickness. Its symptoms include nausea, fatigue, and heart palpitations. This is because in the lower atmospheric pressure of high altitudes, the body does not get enough oxygen. But gradually, you get acclimatized and stop experiencing altitude sickness. How did your body solve this problem? The body compensates low oxygen availability by increasing red blood cell production, decreasing the binding capacity of hemoglobin, and by increasing breathing rate. In most animals, the metabolic reactions proceed optimally in a narrow range of temperature. In humans, it is 37 degrees Celsius. But there are some microbes called as archaebacteria that flourish in hot springs and deep sea hydrothermal vents where temperatures far exceed 100 degrees Celsius. They have thermostable proteins which act as enzymes. These enzymes work at high temperatures. Some organisms show behavioral responses to cope up with variations in their environment. Desert lizards lack the physiological ability that mammals have to deal with the high temperatures of their habitat, but manage to keep their body temperature fairly constant by behavioral means. They bask in the sun and absorb heat when their body temperature drops below the comfort zone, but move into shade when the ambient temperature starts increasing. Some species are capable of burrowing into the soil and hide and escape from the above ground heat. Now you have understood that the responses of organisms to abiotic factors is due to these adaptations that these organisms have achieved during long period of time. With this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you.